I'll be honest with you guys, I love big budget movies like The Jungle Book and Captain America Civil War, but there hasn't been one movie so far this year that really got me 100% into the experience. There hasn't been one movie I've watched and just been so thoroughly engaged in until today. The Conjuring 2. The Conjuring 2 is the sequel to 2013's The Conjuring, and in The Conjuring, there were two paranormal investigators, Ed and Lorraine Warren, played by Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, and in this movie, they're back this time investigating some paranormal occurrences in London. And oh my god, so much to love in this movie. First of all, Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, awesome chemistry on screen, really great in their characters. They develop more in this movie from the first movie too. I mean, the first movie, they're kind of introduced as paranormal investigators, but in this, you really see them more as a family and as a couple that work really well together on these paranormal investigations. Also, the show stealer for me, the kid actors in this movie are all awesome. Kid actors in movies are kind of hit or miss. In horror movies, they're notoriously awful, but in The Conjuring 2, one girl in particular, the girl that plays Janet, is fantastic. All of the kid actors work really well on screen, both with each other and with their mom and with the paranormal investigators in the movie. It's really hard to get good kid actors, especially for horror movies, but The Conjuring 2 did it. So all the acting is really good in the movie, sure, but is this movie actually scary? This movie horrified me through and through. This thing was terrifying. The movie uses jump scares for sure, but it's not, oh, jump scare, a cat pops out. It's like, oh, jump scare, there's a creepy demon on screen that you're gonna remember when you're going to sleep tonight. That's the type of jump scares this movie uses. The imagery in this movie, just like in The Conjuring 1, is so horrifying that it's engraved into the back of your mind. I would even argue this movie has creepier imagery than The Conjuring 1, because this movie introduces the ghost earlier on in the movie, and it incorporates a couple ghosts like the first movie did, plus the relationships between the characters and the paranormal beings are great. Like, I already mentioned the little girl Janet, her interaction with the ghost in this house is awesome. The way the two kind of interconnect is really interesting. Not to mention Vera Farmiga's characters interacting with the ghost as well. Seeing the characters and the ghosts kind of become one is really fascinating. The jump scares in this movie are extremely well used. The creepy imagery in this movie is insane. There's countless scenes I can recite off the top of my head now that are going to keep me up tonight. I have to do this review with the lights on because I'm that terrified after walking out of this movie. This movie being a horror movie, its job is to scare me. Guess what this movie did? It scared me a lot. Not to mention, like the first movie, James Wan directs this one, and it looks fantastic. James Wan, as a director, he makes every shot look super rich, super clear, lots of wide shots used in this movie, and the entire thing has this very dreary feel to it. But in terms of directing, the movie doesn't just look great. James Wan incorporates these really nice themes that run throughout the movie, like family, you know, Lorraine and Ed Warren are there as a family. Then you've got this family in the movie with the 4 kids and the mom. The theme of family is running throughout. You're seeing these two families kind of come together. Can they beat the demon? Can they save the day? Can family triumph? James Wan also introduces concepts into the movie that could come off as annoying, but he makes them work beautifully. For instance, there's a theme of doubt running throughout the movie, like, is this girl making up everything, or is there actually a ghost in the house? When you bring in themes of family and doubt, you have a movie that isn't like most other horror movies that come out today. It's not a cash grab made for a cheap buck that, you know, is just guaranteed to make the studio a profit. You have a movie that actually feels like it has care in it, and a movie that actually cares about its characters. Like I said, we got a half an hour, 40 minutes into this movie, and I realized that I was so thoroughly engaged into The Conjuring 2. No other movie so far this year has hooked me like The Conjuring 2 has. This movie is genuinely horrifying. It's one of the scariest movies I have seen in the past 5-6 years that I can think of off the top of my head. I know I'm not that old, but of the horror movies I've seen, this is one of the standouts. The set design was great. At the end, it shows you all the pictures of the actual case and compares them with the way the movie was shot. So you see, like, oh, this character was wearing a red dress in real life, and oh, this character is wearing a red dress in the movie, and it shows a side by side, and it shows how detailed the production of the movie was. When you combine great acting with great directing with a genuinely believable script that horrified me while also incorporating themes of doubt, themes of family, and things that I just wouldn't expect to see in a horror movie, you simply have one of the best movies of 2016 so far. Guys, I'm giving The Conjuring 2 an A. I loved watching this movie. It kept me so engaged the entire time. I'll say this, if you're turned off by like slightly fantastical things, you might not like the third act of this movie because it does get a little bit out there, but overall, I was so entertained by this movie. I was so into it. But guys, those are just my thoughts on The Conjuring 2. Be sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. You guys can go over to mymoviethoughts.com for more posts from me. You guys can follow me on Twitter. I am at John M. Hayeck. And be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel if you want to stay up to date for all new movie reviews from me. Be sure to like this video, share it around with some friends, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching.